and at an even 500 coming in. Suppan against his old team. He has not lost against the Cardinals since putting on a Brewer uniform. Paul Nart, the home plate umpire, and it's Paul Schreiber, Ed Rapuano, and Chad Fairchild on the bases. Suppan matched up against Wainwright in St. Louis, and it was a dandy of a ball game. One of the best games of the year. As Schumacher bounces one to Counsell, he charges, makes a nice play, and that's how Suppan gets his night started.
Yeah, one of the best games of the year until yesterday's game.
That's
right.
I
guess it got upstaged. It's going to be tough for these two guys to, keep up with the bar that was set yesterday for pitching. But Suppan, as we talked about, 5-0 against the Cardinals with a 1.62 earned run average, and the Brewers have won 6 of his last 7 starts. So the Brewers have been doing a lot of winning with Suppan on the mound.
Well, Carpenter and Gallardo yesterday, neither one of them deserved the loss. Neither one of them factored in the decision, so it probably ended as it should have in yesterday's game. Carpenter was incredible. 8 shutout innings for Chris Carpenter. Meanwhile, Gallardo went 8 shutout innings. And like Carpenter, gave up just 2 hits. Yesterday's winning pitcher was Carlos Villanueva out of the bullpen. And Kyle McClellan took the loss in a 10-inning game yesterday, Rock, that still only took 2 hours and 26 minutes.
Well, they say pitching and defense, and the defense let the Cardinals down in the 10th inning. It was an unearned run that scored by the Brewers. A leadoff error allowed Casey McGee to reach, and he would come around to score.
Just don't see many 1-0 games in the big leagues in this day and age. That's old school. Duncan chases the changeup, and it's 2-2.
And that has been a very good pitch for Suppan in his last handful of starts. Gets ahead with good movement with the fastball, and check out that changeup. Good movement going away from the lefty.
Well, Chris Duncan moved back into the 2-hole, or ahead of Albert Pujols. First time this year Duncan has hit in that spot. He has been in that cleanup spot behind Pujols, but yesterday had some opportunities and did not come through. So La Russa puts Molina in that spot, and Duncan responds with a base hit.
Now just trying anything that he can to try and generate some offense. It's been a struggle for Turner La Russa and the Cardinals. Changeup up in the zone. It was on the corner, but this one upstairs. Unlike the pitch before, the changeup before that Duncan missed.
So here is Albert Pujols with a runner at first and 1 out. And you can bet Suppan will be very careful with Albert. Yesterday Pujols walked twice. He was 0 for 2 at the plate, but he was a part of maybe the turning point of the ball game when he was at the bat in the 8th inning. Gallardo went right after him and struck him out.
And a 3-2 change up in the dirt. Gallardo not about to give in to Pujols in that situation. If he walked him, that was okay. But he got Albert to swing at a pitch down in the zone, down in the dirt.
That was Giovanni's 6th and final strikeout of the game. Albert Pujols, the 2nd hardest to fan in the National League. He only strikes out about every 15 at bats. Cardinals are anxiously awaiting the return of Rick Ankiel, who is back on the active roster, but since his start on Sunday has been unable to return to the lineup. Still nursing a shoulder injury after crashing into the wall in early May.
And they sorely miss him in that lineup on an everyday basis, along with Ludwig. Ludwig due back on Thursday.
Breaking ball, and Pujols is down on strikes. Well, Jeff Suppan spins one off on the great Albert, and it's out number 2.
No, Albert not looking for that pitch. That had a big break on it. That was a dandy. My goodness. Pujols knew it right down the middle of the plate.
So 2 down, and here is Molina. Yadier Molina. St. Louis catcher likes to swing early. And Hall takes care of it, and that's the inning. Good start for Suppan. A scoreless first, and now the Brewers coming up against Adam Wainwright. In there after his game-winning hit yesterday. Maka's lineup brought to you by Subway. It's Council, McGee, and Braun at the top of the order. Fielder, Cameron, and Hart in the middle with Billy Hall, Jason Kendall, and Jeff Suppan rounding it out against the 6'7" Adam Wainwright.
Now the Piggly Wiggly scouting report. He changed his arm slide about 3 starts ago. He's dropped down just a little bit, has better command of his fastball, and his curveball has been a danger. The last time he started against the Brewers, we saw that. Good curve, good cutter by Wainwright. Pretty good hitter, good athlete in general. He's pinch hit 4 times for Tony La Russa this year.
It's certainly a hitter to pay attention to, and hitting 8th in the lineup, as is the custom of Tony La Russa and the Cardinals. Wainwright took the loss in that 1-0 Brewer victory in St. Louis, despite giving up just the 2 hits. Craig Counsell making his 6th consecutive start. Check the Firestone leaderboard up above. The best record since the 22nd of April. Brewers ahead of the Dodgers with that best record. Matter of fact, the Dodgers the only team in the National League with a better record coming in than the Milwaukee Brewers. Los Angeles is 31-15, and they lead the West by 7.5 games. Meanwhile, the Brewers at 27-18. And a 1-game lead in the very competitive National League Central.
How about the Chicago Cubs that lost 8 straight?
Yeah, they've fallen under 500.
Wow.
Cubs are a game under now. The Padres handled the Cubs over the weekend. San Diego continues to win. They had a dramatic comeback win last night. And the Padres have now won 10 straight games. Counsell takes a call at strike 3. So Adam Wainwright picks up right where he left off in St. Louis last week.
Now there's that curveball. We saw it. It was a nasty curveball, but you talk about curveballs. How about the one that Chris Carpenter had yesterday? Probably the best one we've seen all year.
Casey McGee, our Taco Bell Who's Hot. McGee comes in with a .375 batting average in his last 5 games. That includes a couple of doubles and 2 of his 3 RBIs. Casey scored the winning run last night. He reached on an error to start the inning. The only run across was an unearned run.
Casey really doing a good job. He's playing a pretty good second base and has been getting on base in front of Ryan and Prince. Ken Maka told him in Minnesota, we'd like to see you get settled in, get some base hits. You're going to play second base every day. Well, he's done that.
It's one of the areas that Maka seems to have excelled at so far. At least you talk to the players and they'll tell you, right where you stand as a player with Ken Maka. And he's good about alerting players when they're going to play. And he did the same thing with Matt Gamble. Told Gamble he was going to start every day in Minneapolis. That's what happened. Duncan, Rasmus, and Stavadoa in the outfield. Rasmus and Stavadoa rookies. Thurston, Green, Schumacher, and Pujols around the horn. And Yadier Molina, the Gold Glove Cardinal catcher, catching Adam Wainwright. Cardinals normally a very good defensive ball club, but that has not been the case this year. This is the 46th game of the year, and the Cardinals have committed 29 errors. Near the bottom of the pack in the National League in that category.
Yeah, the Washington Nationals lead the National League in errors, 45 already. The Diamondbacks with 38. Well, that's a lot of errors, 45 errors already.
Well, it's interesting that the Cardinals have a lot of errors from two key positions. First, the shortstop position. Khalil Green actually has 6 of those errors. And the Gold Glover Albert Pujols with 5 errors already.
Yeah. A lot of those errors came early on for Albert. There's that curveball right on the inside corner. He's played a pretty good first base in this series and in the series in St. Louis. Made some really nice plays yesterday.
Two balls and a strike on Ryan Braun. Off the end of the bat, out to Khalil Green. And the side retired. Wainwright, a 1-2-3 inning. We head to the second at Miller Park. The Brewers and the Cardinals tonight. Game 2 of this 3-game series, and the Brewers trying to secure another series victory here tonight. Our carsoup.com email the booth question. Remember yesterday the failed double switch for Ken Maka, and Adam from East Troy wants to know why were the Brewers not allowed to double switch in the game yesterday. And I know you had a chance to talk to the skipper prior to today's game, Rob.
Yeah, well, according to Ken Maka and his version of the story, Chad Fairchild was the home plate umpire, and the rule is, if a player takes his position before the manager goes to the umpire and tells him it's going to be a double switch, that player is inserted into the spot where the pitcher was going to hit initially. So Chad Fairchild saying that Trevor Hoffman took the mound before Ken Maka went to him and told him it was a double switch.
So it was a matter of timing. And Maka said it won't happen again. Rasmus jumps on the first pitch. Cameron and Braun collide out there. And Cameron ends up with the baseball. Oh, that was close to being a disaster. Cameron just cutting in front, saying he's got it all the way, however.
Well, Mike Cameron covering a lot of ground. He's feeling pretty good out there tonight. Went a long way to get that one. That was a relatively routine play for Ryan Braun.
You could clearly see Cameron calling off Braun.
But you know, that's pretty much the letter of that rule, that double switch rule. But how many times have we seen a manager, start to walk to the umpire, a guy sprints from the dugout and takes his position at third base,
right,
in a double switch? I mean, that stuff happens all the time. But to the letter of the rules, I mean, they called it the correct way yesterday. Really didn't matter anyway, because Trevor Hoffman's only going to pitch one inning.
The only thing that really set the Brewers back is they had to use their final pinch hitter. Basically, they did have Mike Rivera, the backup catcher, but as it turns out, it put Billy Hall in the spot to be clutch. Otherwise, Hall would have hit second the next inning. So there's been a lot of talk about it today, and Ken Maka certainly knows the rule. It's like you said, it's kind of like the rock back at a stop sign.
Right.
Sometimes you don't always rock back.
It's kind of like not touching second base on a double play.
Exactly.
What do they say in golf? It was a good miss. It ended up being a good spot for Billy.
That's right. And Bill Hall delivered big time. 2 quick outs for Suppan here in the second inning. Cardinals starting 3 rookies in their lineup. Nick Stavinoa, one of the 3. These are some important days for Stavinoa. Unable to check his swing there. And he's down 0-2. With Ryan Ludwig scheduled to return to the active roster after Thursday, Stavinoa is trying to hit his way back to St. Louis at some point. 0-2. Just missed.
Yeah, he's played just about every day against the Brewers. Hasn't done a whole lot, not yet. They brought him up, big guy, hoping to hit some home runs.
Stavinoa had a game-winning RBI in his first start over the weekend against the Royals. Cardinals took 2 out of 3 from Kansas City the first week of interleague play. Full count to Nick Stavinoa, 27-year-old rookie. This guy hit .337 in the PCL last year. Big numbers offensively. Nice play down there. Suppan went through the Cardinals scoreless in the first. Actually struck out Albert Pujols, his only strikeout thus far.
Want to be careful here. You got the pitcher on deck.
And that one's launched deep left field. Stavinoa hits one out. A 3-2 pitch, and Stavinoa, his first home run.
Well, with the pitcher waiting on the on-deck circle, you got to wonder. I guess Suppan trying to come inside on Stavinoa left it a little bit over the plate. Actually didn't. That was inside. Apparently looking inside, and well, he did a nice job keeping his hands in, keeping it fair. And into the Friday's Front Row Sports Grill. That ball was hit well. Well, you hate to see that with 2 outs and a pitcher on deck.
Well, Nick Stavinoa with his first career major league homer puts the Cardinals on top 1-0. A mistake from Suppan that ends up in somebody's soup in the Friday's Grill. Stabenow has been a home run hitter in his minor league career. Wonder what kind of negotiations will take place to try to get that ball back.
Maybe free dessert. They're sitting out there already, right? They've got good desserts out there.
I mean, it's almost worth it for one of those desserts.
Maybe a bat and a dessert.
Sometimes Brewers fans throw home run balls back. Sure, the Cardinals were hoping for that.
And what are the chances that they want a Nick Stabenow bat? You think maybe a Pujols bat might be in the negotiations?
I don't know. We'll have to see. Wainwright bounces one to Counsell. And the side retired, but Stabenow delivers his first career major league homer. Prince Fielder set to lead off when we come back. 1-0 St. Louis. The Cardinals on top 1-0. I want to remind you that Sunday NASCAR on Fox heads to Dover, Delaware, where Kyle Busch will try to defend his title against a full field of the world's best drivers. Coverage of Sprint Cup Series racing presented by McDonald's from Dover begins Sunday at 1:30, 12:30 Central in high definition on Fox. Powerball home run leaderboard as Fielder strolls to the plate. Prince leads the ball club with 10 long balls this year. Mike Cameron with his 250th career home run. His last homer gives him 9 for the season. Yeah, those guys are having some fun tonight. Little Tuesday night baseball here in Milwaukee. Everything closed up tonight. Cool temperatures outside. Temperatures are in the 50s tonight, so they've closed the panels. They have closed the roof. Slight chance of rain in the area as well. Very comfortable inside Miller Park. In all its glory tonight.
And not a bad crowd for a Tuesday. The crowds continue to be tremendous here at Miller Park.
And it's not even the summer yet. You know, once school lets out in mid-June, it's going to be tough to get a ticket. So we certainly want to invite you to get on the phone or log on to Brewers.com and secure your tickets. Fielder hammers one into the gap in right center. Rasmus cuts it off, and he's able to hold Prince to a single.
All right, Prince doing a good job working the count. Got a fastball that was trying to get away from Prince on the corner, left it out over the plate. Not so much sink on the Wainwright fastball. He's got good tail, good movement going away from lefties. Very important to stay on it.
Here's Mike Cameron now. Mike Cameron, we showed you his 9 home runs. His 9th put him into an exclusive club. Only 20 players in the history of the game with at least 250 steals and 250 home runs. Just a great testament to not only his power and his speed, but also his longevity and his ability to keep himself in shape and remain productive enough to stay in the lineup every day.
Yeah, just a tremendous athlete and very committed to his workout regimen, and as all the Brewers are. But you know, those 2 stolen bases, those came in the first game of the season in San Francisco. That's when the Brewers were a running club.
In game 1.
Game 1.
That was the last day they were a running club. Cameron pounds one into left field. And a good start to the second inning for the Brew Crew. Back-to-back singles to start this second inning with Corey Hart coming up.
And we mentioned that Wainwright has had 2 very good starts in a row. You see that fastball that stayed in the middle part of the plate. Now that's 2 base hits for the Brewers in this inning on similar locations with the fastball by Wainwright.
And the Brewers equaling their hit total in their last appearance against Wainwright in 8 innings. With back-to-back hits here in the second. Corey Hart with 2 on and nobody out. Checks in at 242 for the year with 4 homers and 18 runs batted in. Well, it was Corey Hart's home run against Wainwright that provided the only offense for the Brewers.
And that was a home run to right center. Took a fastball to the opposite field.
And we take you back in the second inning. Corey Hart delivered one to right center. There was a day when the wind was blowing out a little bit to right center. Hart said he didn't get it all, but he got enough of it. And who knew that it would hold up on a 1-0 final score. That was back on the 16th of May.
And the location of the fastball was about down the middle or middle end. Didn't try and pull it. Corey's got plenty of power to that direction. You got to wonder how much his last 2 starts are going to affect him. Talking about Wainwright, 8 innings and 8 2/3 against the Cubs this last time out. That's a lot of innings in 2 starts.
Now Wainwright against the Cubs gave up 5 hits and 1 run in his 8 2/3. Was pretty efficient against the Brewers in his 8 innings on the 16th of May. But just the fact that you sit down and get back up for 8 different innings, that can take a toll. Corey Hart gets rung up by Paul Schreiber. Unable to check his swing. It was close.
And it was a very matter-of-fact call by Paul Schreiber. Looked like Corey might have gone on it. First base umpire agreed.
That's a big out for Wainwright. Hart strikes out, unable to advance the runners. And still runners at first and second with 1 away. And now it's Billy Hall. And a nice ovation as he was announced here tonight. Take you back to yesterday. Billy Hall in his first at-bat of the game delivers the game winner. Hall had come in for defensive purposes in the 9th inning. And his turn to the batting order came up, and Hall delivered the game-winning hit. It went officially as a single and an RBI, although it was an unearned run. And the Brewers once again win in their final at-bat. That's the 7th time. 7 times, Rock, the Brewers have won in their final at-bat in the last 2 years against the Cardinals.
Yeah. These series have been very close. They could have gone either way. You mentioned the success the Brewers have had against St. Louis. A hit here, a hit here, hit there. It could have been the other way around. Having too many blowouts in that stretch.
Yeah. Well, the Brewers won 10 out of 15 games last year against the Cardinals. And on 8 of those occasions, games were won in their final at bat. The Brewers did it 6 times last year, and the Cardinals twice. And then you add the Bill Hall hit yesterday. So there have been some close games, but the Brewers have come out roses. They've won 11 of their last 12 against the Cardinals going back to last season.
And it comes down to this right here. You know, home runs and team earned run average. Check it out. Brewers really dominating the Cardinals in that stretch in those 2 categories.
2 on, 1 out. 2-2 on Bill Hall. And he hits that one high in the air to right center. That will not carry. Stavinoa makes the call, and he's got it for the out. Well, here comes Jason Kendall, who collected his 2,000th career hit against the Cardinals in St. Louis. That was the Monday makeup game. And because the Brewers were on the road, hadn't had a chance to recognize him until tonight. And Doug Melvin was out with Jason Kendall and got a huge ovation from this big crowd, celebrating a terrific career accomplishment.
On a short list of catchers that have done that. 2,000 hits. Next on the list, Johnny Bench. Pretty good name to be associated with.
Kendall's the 8th catcher of those who have caught at least 1,000 games in their career to collect 2,000 hits. There's only been 2 other catchers to catch as many games as Kendall and collect as many hits as Jason Kendall. There's a number out there with 2,000 hits in 1,800 games. And Carlton Fisk at the top of that list. And Gary Carter's the other one. Two and 1.
And Jason has his eye on both of those 2 guys. That number is a big number for Jason. A little over 400 games that he needs to catch. That would be at the top of that list. Games caught.
2 on, 2 out. On the corner, a strike.
It's been a steady diet of cutters and curveballs since the first 2 men reached with base hits on the fastball.
They'll ask if he went. Paul Schreiber palms down.
Wow. Looked like Jason went more than Corey did. Maybe not.
Those guys never miss it.
Yeah, they don't, do they?
Well, the runners will get a head start here. So a fielder should score on a base hit. 3-2 with 2 outs. And there they go. And Kendall, a little roller out to short. And Green boots it. Khalil Green kicks it. He has had his struggles this year defensively.
That would have been interesting at first base. That's going to be an error on Khalil Green. Number 7, making he's only started 1 of the last 11 games for the Cardinals, showing a little bit of rust. Right up the glove, and the base is loaded with 2 outs.
Well, he's already committed his 7th error of the year. If nothing else, it clears the pitcher spot. Here's Suppan with the bases loaded. Suppan has 2 hits this year. He's 2 for 15. Seems to always make contact. Suppan trying to deliver one of his patented flares into right field. Right over Pujols' head. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, that has scored 2 runs. I think more importantly, I think the Brewers are looking for a walk. They might try to be a little bit too fine. It's amazing how, a pitcher's out there and he says to himself, all they have to do is throw strikes here, and you end up walking a batter. And he kind of let down just a bit. Wainwright having a meeting with himself out there on the mound.
Brewers making him work here in the second. Bases loaded, 2 outs, and the pitcher batting. And Suppan pops up to center field. And the side retired. The Brewers let an opportunity go by. The first 2 reach without an out. Nobody scores. Still 1-0 St. Louis. Wisconsin is presented by Blaine's Farm and Fleet. You'll always find value at your local Farm and Fleet. By Piggly Wiggly, shop the pig and save. And by Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin.
And welcome back to Miller Park for Brewers Baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin. I'm pleased to be joined by Brewers Executive Vice President of Business Operations, Rick Schlesinger. Rick, the Brewers delegation is going to New York for a very special reason. I'll let you explain why.
Sure. We're up for a Franchise of the Year from Sports Business Journal, which is sort of the Bible of sports business in the country. We're very excited. I mean, you got to give credit to Doug Melvin for putting a great team on the field, for ownership, for giving us the resources, for the fans, for supporting us. All that goes into the mix, and we're hoping to come back with some hardware Thursday night.
Well, hopefully. And also, you guys got a lot going on this homestand, of course, as throughout the entire season. But can you talk about the promotion that you guys are running when the Brewers win, you win?
Right. In the month of May, every time the Brewers win, it's $1 off a Loge outfield ticket for the Rockies series coming up in June. We've already got 15 wins in May, so that means the $28 price is now $13. I'd like to see that price go down a little more with a few more wins. So starting on June 1, fans will be able to gobble up those tickets, and I suspect they'll be going fast because it's been a great month of baseball so far for us.
Well, thanks for your time, Rick, and hopefully they'll keep racking up the wins.
Sounds great.
All right, if you need more information and to stay up to speed on what's going on here at the park, visit Brewers.com. Brian?
All right, Telly, thanks a lot. Thanks to Rick Schlesinger for giving us a little time here tonight. Joe Thurston starts the Cardinal third inning with a ringing single back up the middle.
Yeah, pitch up in the strike zone. It was working itself away from Thurston, but stayed up. And Thurston did a nice job staying back on it. Didn't try and pull it.
So Suppan back at the top of the order, second time through now. Skip Schumacher with a runner at first. 1-0 Cardinals on a Nick Stavanoa home run. His first career major league homer. Pujols anxious to swing the bat. with some men on base.
Now, Suppan certainly gave him something to think about. I don't think Pujols ever really thought too much about that curveball, but with that called strike with the curveball, he just add a little element of doubt into Albert's mind when he goes up to that plate.
I didn't know Albert doubted anything.
Well, he doesn't.
We'll doubt for him.
Trying to get it into his head, that's all.
Runner takes off. Kendall blocks the baseball. So a well-timed start for Joe Thurston. And that'll go as a stolen base.
They picked a pretty good pitch, a curveball, and one in the dirt at that. Takes off on the delivery, which means it is a stolen base and not a wild pitch.
Now the Cardinals with a runner in scoring position now. Thurston with good speed. Little bouncer over to McGee. And the first out, but Schumacher does a nice job. Good situational hitting. And he advances Joe Thurston over third base.
Hey, fans, elect your favorite Brewers to the 2009 All-Star team. Vote early, vote often, and vote Brewers now through July 2nd at Brewers.com.
Well, the Brewers well represented on the first issuing of the All-Star balloting update. Ryan Braun, the leading vote getter among National League outfielders. J.J. Hardy, the leading vote getter among shortstops in the league, and just about all the other Brewers up there at the top of the list as well. So Brewers fans making themselves heard once again. We saw that story last year as Braun was voted the All-Star starter in left field, and then Corey Hart was the All-Star vote-in for the final roster spot. And we want to invite you to keep it up. 80th All-Star game will be played in St. Louis this season.
Well, a shame Ricky Weeks, the way he got started. He certainly had the credentials early to be elected to that club.
Yeah, Weeks was second to Chase Utley. Utley is about 300,000 votes ahead of Ricky, and Utley's probably the best bet as the All-Star starter. Cardinals have a couple of players on that list as well. Yadier Molina, St. Louis catcher, the leading vote getter at that position. Jason Kendall second. And of course Albert Pujols has notched more votes than anyone. Nearly 900,000 votes already.
And deservedly so.
They'll start releasing these balloting updates every week or so, and have a chance to track that, see how the Brewers are doing. 3-1 to Duncan with a runner at third and one out. And Suppan walks him. And here comes Pujols with runners at the corners.
And went with a 3-1 changeup, did Jeff Suppan. Duncan with a base hit his last time up on a 3-2 changeup back through the middle.
Well, Duncan, hitting in the 2-hole for the first time this year, has responded by getting on base twice. A single and now a walk. And that sets the stage for Pujols with runners at the corners and one away. Pujols checks in fourth in the league in RBIs. He has 38 ribbies this year. Third in the league in home runs. And that one's launched into left. Pujols watching this one go. Braun is back, and he's got it. A run will score. Albert thought he hit it out.
Got it down on the end of the bat just enough to keep it in the ballpark. Good movement by Suppan. It was a slider. Just took enough on it to get Albert out in front. Kept it in the ballpark, but deep enough to score the run. I'll take that with Albert up.
So Pujols drives in the second Cardinal run. It's 2-0 St. Louis. Pujols now with 39 runs batted in. And 2 outs with a runner at first. Suppan against Yadier Molina, his former battery mate. Jammed him. Boy, Molina taking an early hack at a pitch inside, almost hit him.
Yeah, we talked to Jason Kendall about Suppan in Houston, and he was saying that Suppan's fastball has such good movement on it. You really can't tell sometimes when you're watching on television or you're sitting in the stands at Miller Park. That ball just ate up Molina. It started middle in, ended up on his fists.
Suppan went 5 innings in Houston, gave up 3 runs. Coming off that 7-inning performance against the Cardinals when he did not allow a run. And Molina hacking away again. It's 0-2. Cardinals just trying to keep it together while they get healthy. Once Ludwig returns, he'll hit in that spot behind Albert Pujols. Ludwig was off to a great start when he was injured. Pulled a hamstring 2 weeks ago. Saw Ludwig taking batting practice once again for the 2nd consecutive day. Took BP with the team today, as a matter of fact. And man, was he putting on a show. The guy has tremendous power. And losing Ryan Ludwig, the Cardinals lose an all-star. First time all-star last year. Who knows when Ankiel will be able to play again. They're hoping tomorrow. Casey McGee's got it. And the side retired. The Cardinals tack on a run. Pujols a sacrifice fly. It's 2-0 St. Louis.
Welcome back to Miller Park, where the crew trails the St. Louis Cardinals 2-0 as we head to the bottom of the third. Let's check in with the crew in the community. Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin are offering free prostate cancer screenings at Miller Park from 7 a.m. until 1 p.m. on May 28th. The first 500 men 40 and over who complete the screening that day will receive a voucher for 2 free Brewers tickets to a future game. Guys?
I did that. Is that why you were pointing at me up here?
Oh, I know you went through it last year.
But I did not get the ticket vouchers.
No, you had a ticket anyway. As Council leads off with a hit.
Yeah, that's a very important thing for guys to do. You get to be about 50 years old. You got to do those types of things. Make sure you're okay. Stuff sneaks up on you. Then Craig Counsell was still another base hit, taking it to the opposite field. The Brewers with 3 base hits against Wainwright already today.
Back-to-back singles in the second inning to start the inning, and the Brewers could not score. So here's Casey McGee, 2-0 St. Louis as we play in the bottom of the third inning. Cardinals with single tallies in the second and the third. Pujols has an RBI. Nick Stavanoa a home run in the second, his first career home run to put the Cardinals on the board.
Yeah, disappointing second inning. As you mentioned, you got to get tallies on a guy like Wainwright when you get the first 2 on. We're not able to do it.
Adam Wainwright, he was a World Series star back in '06. Coming out of the bullpen that year. That was the year Suppan had his great run in the postseason with the Cardinals. Wainwright went from a reliever and a playoff closer to the starting rotation for the '07 season. Had 5 saves in the postseason of '06, and he was on the mound when the Cardinals clinched it against the Tigers. They got the final out in the '06 World Series. There were 2 projects for Dave Duncan after that '06 World Series. Adam Wainwright and Braden Looper.
Yeah.
Both sent to the starting rotation, and both had a lot of success under Dave Duncan, who has had a track record of doing just that.
Well, injuries to the starting rotation entering the season in '07, and they needed some help.
Hitters count for Casey McGee. 3 balls and a strike with Counsell over at first. And that one's right on the corner. Good pitch by Wainwright. 3-2.
Now he can make pitches like that on 3-1. That's why he's got the success that he's had. Just a slight adjustment with his arm slot. He's throwing a lot more strikes, keeping the ball down much better.
Counsell takes off. McGee takes the pitch. And the throw is into the outfield. Counsell on his way to third as Yadier Molina commits his first error of the year. He did not need to throw the baseball. He might have been waiting for a call from the home plate umpire, Paul Nart.
Now, sometimes you get a late call. Catchers are taught to make the throw anyway. It will not be a stolen base for Counsell. But he gets the third on a throwing error by Molina. It's a walk to Casey McGee. Well, all that running and no stolen base for Craig.
So even Molina, the Gold Glove catcher, is in the error column now. His first of the season. Cardinals have committed 30 errors this year. Second error of the ball game. And here's Braun with runners at the corners.
You got to wonder if the middle infield is kind of led up just a little bit, knowing his ball 4. That ball sails into center field, and Brewers in business here.
I did not see Yadier Molina talking to Paul Nart. You know, sometimes you're just waiting on that call, and when you don't get it, you go ahead and make the throw, and it sailed on Molina, who's got a great arm. But you're almost coming out of the chute waiting to hear something.
Well, a lot of times on a 3-2 count, and you have a guy that's going to maybe steal a base. You know, Craig Counsell not known for his stolen bases these days, but a lot of times a catcher will just say to the umpire, hey, give me a quick call. Let me know right away. Sometimes he does it, but you're in that position, and Yadier Molina I mean, you just decide to make a throw regardless, especially on a close pitch. If it's not even close, you don't bother.
Well, it cost them. Instead of first and second, the Brewers have runners at the corners, and Braun at the very least trying to get one in the air to the outfield as Wainwright reaches back for a little extra, and Braun ahead in the count, 2-1.
You know, and it's one thing to hear the call right away, and if it was a strike, I'm sure home plate umpire would have said something very quickly. But when you don't hear anything on a ball call, I mean, sometimes that'll throw you off. You keep sitting back there waiting for it.
Well, Braun way late on that offering from Wainwright, and it's 2-2.
Well, did a nice job hitting it pretty hard. Looked like an off-speed pitch. Not sure what it was. Slider that did nothing. Up and in.
So bad it was good.
Yeah.
Looked like Braun was on it if it takes its normal break, but it stayed up there, and Braun just able to foul it off. So 2-2 now. Cardinals set up for a double play ball. They will concede the run if they get a ground ball here. And Braun is hit by a pitch. Now the Brewers continue to set the pace in the National League with hit by pitches. And that's going to load the bases here in the third inning.
Well, that's the last thing Wainwright wanted. Looked like it got Ryan on the forearm. Going to hurt a little bit, but certainly not intentional.
So Ryan Braun hit for the 8th time this year. And anything around the hands, you're just hoping it catches some flesh and some meat as opposed to those delicate bones. Here's Fielder now with the bases loaded. Off the end of the bat. Over to plate is Green. His only play to first, and it's in time for the outfielder. Drives in a run. All the runners advance. Counsell scores, and it's 2-1 St. Louis.
I'm not sure where Joe Thurston was on that play. That looked like it was a third baseman's ball all the way. He goes to third base. That's the problem. Khalil Green forced to make that play. That was looking to be an easy play for the third baseman, but a nice play by Khalil Green.
The fielder grounds out, but drives in his 43rd run of the year.
And not only does he get the run in, but he advances the base runners. Bonus.
And here's Mike Cameron. Cameron gets under a breaking ball. Schumacher makes the catch, and McGee cannot score. Well, the Brewers letting some opportunities to advance runners go by here early. It's a big out again for Wainwright.
And first pitch curveball. Wasn't about to throw first pitch fastball. Hanging curveball at that. Cam popped it up.
So Corey Hart trying to pick him up. Second and third with 2 outs. Well, you can bet Adam Wainwright and the Cardinals would be glad to get out of this inning with just 1 run. After sitting there with bases loaded and fielder at the plate and nobody out. Hart's been struggling a little bit lately. Batting average under 200 in his last 16 games. Trying to get hot again. Takes one away. Corey's like that. He's a streaky hitter.
Yeah. They just got to think more to bang the ball back through the middle into right center. Sometimes you get a little bit too pull conscious and you can't cover the outside corner. Ball and 2 strikes.
Not only is Hart's batting average streaky, but his power comes in streaks as well. He's hit 4 home runs this year, and 3 of those 4 came in a 4-game stretch early in the season. Then he went almost a month without a home run until he knocked one out against Wainwright in their last matchup. Just got a piece of that one.
That's not where Wainwright wanted that pitch. He's having a little bit more command issues than he did last time the Brewers sold. Molina wanted that ball in the dirt. He left that one up. That was a hittable 1-2 slider.
Second and third, 2 outs. And Hart lays off. That's been a nemesis pitch for Corey Hart.
That's where he wanted the last one. That was a well-located breaking pitch with 2 strikes.
I think Wainwright put it right where he wanted. Hart didn't bite. See what he has in mind at 2-2. And down he goes. So Hart strikes out, and the Brewers let another golden opportunity go by. Big caps are nice too. 2-1, the Cardinals lead it. As we head to the 4th, let's get you caught up if you're just joining us. It was Nick Stavinoa delivering his first career Major League home run. Came with 2 outs and on a 3-2 pitch from Jeff Suppan. That put the Cardinals on the board. Pujols sent Braun back to the wall. A sacrifice fly and an RBI in the 3rd inning. Fielder drives in the only Brewers run on a little cue shot ground out. The Brewers have left 5 men on in the last 2 innings. And we head to the 4th. Jeff Suppan back on the mound. He'll face Colby Rasmus to lead off, followed by Khalil Green, then Nick Stavinoa. Rasmus was hitting in the 2-hole yesterday and hits that one a mile high. That one is way back. Cameron running out of room, and it's gone. Colby Rasmus with his 5th home run of the year. And the Cardinals have a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, that first pitch fastball. Rasmus loves that pitch. Boy, if it's a pitch he likes, and it was right down the middle of the plate, gives it a pretty good swing. Able to pull his hands in to get the barrel of the bat on it, and just able to sneak over that center field fence. Not by much.
Here's Khalil Green. Colby Rasmus leads all National League rookies in home runs and RBIs, as a matter of fact. The new look Colby Rasmus cut off the locks. He's got the summer cut. He's ready for the heat. He's a good hitter. He's showing plenty of power too.
Was his hair longer in St. Louis?
Yeah, yesterday it was.
Yesterday?
It was long.
I didn't notice.
You can tell by the white walls around his neck.
There you go.
Well, Khalil Green strikes out. And the first out here in the fourth. Half-Flack trivia question. Who are the only two managers with more wins than Tony La Russa? He's the only manager to win 1,000 games with 3 different organizations. The White Sox, the Oakland A's, where he won 2 world titles, and the St. Louis Cardinals has a World Series victory with St. Louis as well. Stavinoa off the end of the bat, rolls out to short. 2 up and 2 down after the Erasmus home run. Cardinal pitcher Adam Wainwright here with 2 outs. And he jumps on the first pitch, and that one's driven to deep left field, and that one's not coming back. Long home run for Wainwright. His first of the year. And the Cardinals have a 4-1 lead. Both of the home runs in this inning on the first pitch from Suppan.
No, he doesn't locate it very well. That's what happens. You're not going to wait around for those change-ups. We talked about Wainwright being a pretty good hitter. He's been used as a pinch hitter this year. 3 home runs tonight. He gave up a couple of home runs in Houston. Hunter Pence with a 2-run shot, and Tejada in Houston. So Soup having a tough time lately, keeping it in the ballpark.
4th career home run for Adam Wainwright. And the Cardinals are out in front 4-1. They've scored in every inning with the exception of the first. Wainwright's a good hitter. Talked about his batting average. Anytime you see a pitcher with a batting average over 200, you know he can handle the bat a little bit. Wainwright checked in with a 224 average. That one's down the line to the fair ball. And this will go for extras. Thurston on his way to second. And it's a 2-out double down the right field line.
Now the Cardinals jumping all over the Suppan fastball here in this inning. That's why that change-up, that cutter, the slider, a very important pitch. Missed his spot. Suppan tried to shoot the outside corner, left it middle in.
Bullpen activity here in the 4th inning. Maka does not want to let this game get too far out of reach. 2 outs. McClung begins to get loose. And Suppan facing Skip Schumacher for the 3rd time.
I need to get through this inning because Suppan's spot in the order is due up 3rd. Bottom of this inning.
Oh. Day game tomorrow, final game of the series. A getaway day for the Cardinals. Manny Parra will start for the Brewers tomorrow against Todd Wellemeyer. Then the Brewers a scheduled off day Thursday. And they'll welcome in the Reds on Friday. Weekend series against Cincinnati. There's a base hit to right. Hart's got a good arm. He comes up with it clean. Thurston on his way to the plate. The throw is up the line. and skips by. Another run is in as Schumacher drives home Thurston, and it's 5-1 St. Louis. And the end appears to be near for Jeff Suppan.
The fourth hit in the inning by the Cardinals. Check it out. Fastball that stayed in the middle part of the plate. Good movement on it, but left it right down the middle. Kendall wanted it away. So location issues for Soup.
And that's going to do it for the Brewers starter. Suppan is going to be lifted. 5 runs in for St. Louis on 7 hits. And a short night at the office for Jeff Suppan as Maka makes the quick trip to the mound. We'll take a timeout. McClung coming in. We'll set him up when we continue. Lifted after 3 2/3, and Seth McClung will take over as LaRussa's Cardinals are up 5-1. Our Aflac trivia tonight, the only 2 managers with more wins than Tony La Russa. And the Duck says Connie Mack and John McGraw. You got to go back to the golden days of baseball. Connie Mack used to wear a suit.
Yeah.
The non-uniform manager.
Yeah, Tony La Russa passed Red Shandies last year. Tops on the Cardinals all-time list.
John McGraw managed so long ago. As you see the numbers on Seth McClung, he used to actually implement the 1st to 3rd rule. He'd tell his players, this is back when they had 1 umpire.
Right.
Don't bother touching 2nd, just cut across and make it to 3rd. Now that's going back a ways.
Well, they didn't have replay back then.
No, they didn't. You're right. Good call.
Well, replay wouldn't work on that anyway. Seth McClung's been throwing the baseball very well, though. He's only given up 1 run in his last number of appearances. Rough outing for Jeff Suppan. Of course, should say rough inning for Suppan. Not too bad first 3.
Chris Duncan on the first pitch pops it up, and this will get the Brewers out of the inning. So McClung with 1 pitch and 1 out to finish the 4th. And we head to the home 4th. The Brewers have some work to do. Brewers Charities Bobblehead Raffles presented by Fox Sports Wisconsin. This Sunday, it's Trevor Hoffman Bobblehead Day, and you can visit the Brewers Charities Trevor Hoffman raffle table anytime through the 4th inning. And with every $5 donation, a lucky fan will have the chance to take home unique prizes. Or you can log on to the web at brewers.com/bobble-raffle for more information.
How long can you stand like that bobblehead? How long do you think you could stand there?
It's good posture. The classic Trevor Hoffman move. I wonder if it comes with its own Hell's Bells audio.
Look how straight the back is, everything lining up. I mean, that's a solid bobblehead right there.
Tough on the hammies, but when you're in the kind of shape Trevor Hoffman is, it works. And earlier today, I was out with Trevor Hoffman. There I am, Rock. Did you see me?
Nice.
Trevor was outstanding. Lincoln Elementary School in Wauwatosa. Big score day today. The Brewers all out in the community. Every player went to a school, and all across the Milwaukee area. Scatter shot. And we had a great time with that, and it's good to get a terrific message. You know, this score program, I'm a big fan of. I've done it for the last 3 years. It brings to light when all the players do it, what Larry Heisel does every day, pretty much, for the Brewers throughout the year.
No, that's an important part of what the Brewers, want to do and want to be in this community. I mean, giving back. I mean, the Brewers very fortunate to have fans that come out in droves. Another great crowd here tonight, and just a small way that they could say thank you for all the support.
Well, Trevor did an outstanding job earlier today. Really took his time with the program. The kids responded very well. It's about 300 kids out there at Lincoln Elementary. And every day you're around Trevor Hoffman, you're even that much more impressed with the kind of, not just the kind of pitcher he is. He's the all-time saves leader, but the guy's a leader. He's tremendous in the community, great with his teammates. So we had a terrific day out there, and it's a nice touch that the Brewers players all are ready and willing to participate.
There are some people that you're around and they suck the energy out of you, but Trevor Hoffman is a guy just the opposite. I mean, you're around that guy, you're better off for it, and you would never know, watching him go about his business in these schools and around the community and even in the clubhouse, that he is the all-time saves leader. He's one of the best athletes ever, the best baseball players ever, and those are the kind of people that you like to be around.
Well, hey, I promised the kids at Lincoln Elementary I'd show up. Look what they made us, Rock.
Awesome.
Check this out. It's stone. It's marble. You see how I'm handling it. It's nice. And it covers Rock's face.
That's
so
the way you do it. It's hard to do.
Really well. Here,
it's hard to do with just one piece of anything.
Could you implement?
Cover my head.
If you could implement this somehow in your instructional tonight, that'd be appreciated.
And we just hold on to it?
No, just keep it right there.
Well, we'll just keep it right here.
Hang on.
Okay.
Keep it right there.
Okay.
Seth McClung making a bid at a base hit, but Duncan robs him. 5-1. Cardinals still lead it. Anderson with Bill Schroeder, Telly Hughes, and Ken Maka's short bench just got a little thinner. Frank Catalanato is in the game in left field. Ryan Braun is out of this game with a contusion on his left wrist. Remember, he was hit by a pitch back in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, wasn't sure where it got him, but apparently on the wrist, and just as a precaution, you take Ryan out just to make sure that there's no real damage to that area. So Catalanato making his 2nd appearance in the outfield as a Brewer.
Catalanato pinch hit yesterday and stayed in the game to play right field. Veteran big leaguer that is below average defensively in the outfield, but certainly an exceptional hitter. He takes over in left. And now Braun joins J.J. Hardy on the day-to-day injury list. If you're just with us, J.J. Hardy unable to make the start. The 4th consecutive game he has missed with back spasms. There's a chance Hardy could play tomorrow.
Well, don't be surprised if J.J. gets another day off. I mean, you get tomorrow off, then the team day off, and maybe the extra day may help him. You might see the same for Ryan Braun tomorrow.
Albert Pujols leads off. The Cardinals lead 5-1 on 7 hits. McClung taking over for Jeff Suppan. Made 1 pitch in the 4th inning and got an out to end the inning. And Ken Maka is going to ask McClung to give him a few here tonight. It was McClung and Pujols who went toe-to-toe a few years back. McClung drilled Albert Pujols at the end of the 07 season. And that started a lot of bad blood between these two teams.
He came in with apparently the express purpose of hitting Albert. He came in, threw 1 pitch, hit Albert. He was tossed out of the ball game. And it hasn't been the same since between these two teams. Hey fans, if you're traveling, you can't watch your Brewers on FS Wisconsin. You can always catch the game on your computer with MLB.TV, the ultimate experience, featuring 100 out-of-market games every week live on your computer. You can also catch those you missed on demand. For details, go to Brewers.com.
Pujols aboard for the first time tonight, and a sacrifice fly his last time up. And here's Molina, and for the 3rd straight at bat, he offers at the first pitch. It's got to be a little bit of a shock to the system for the hitters when you go from Jeff Suppan to Seth McClung. It's about as much contrast as you could possibly have.
Yeah, from about 88 to 95.
And the 6'7" McClung with his power fastball. Seth has proven to be extremely versatile in his couple of seasons with the Brewers. He came over to the Brewers in 07 late in the year. It was a trade that sent Grant Balfour to the Tampa Bay Rays. Two guys who had kind of run out of options with their respective clubs, and both ended up pitching well for their clubs. Molina throws the bat at it, and McGee will gun down Albert Pujols. He got him on the tag. Pujols is out.
He's out twice.
That'll officially go as a caught stealing.
Well, the second base umpire, Paul Schreiber, or I should say Ed Rapuano, called him out on the tag right there. Apparently going out of the baseline. They threw it anyway just to get him out the second time. Not sure if he got him, but he didn't look like he was out of the baseline, did it? You can see the motion of the hand by Ed Rapuano saying it was out of the baseline. I don't think so.
So technically he was out 3 times. He was tagged twice and he was out of the baseline. So under no circumstances was he going to remain on the base paths on a failed hit and run by the Cardinals.
That'll be a 2-4 putout if you're scoring with us at home.
Or even if you're not. They call him Big Red, his teammates.
Hey, Seth all of a sudden has become a 4-pitch pitcher. Have you noticed? He came over to the Brewers with 2 pitches mainly, a curveball and a fastball. And with the tutelage of Billy Castro, he's throwing a fastball, a curveball, changeup, and a slider.
Al McClung gives a lot of credit to Bill Castro and Mike Maddox, Castro's predecessor, together as pitching coach and bullpen coach last year, for completely overhauling Seth's mechanics. McClung used to take the glove over his head at a very violent windup and delivery. And they backed him down. His windup now, he keeps the glove in front, very quiet on the mound. And he may give up a few miles per hour. He's not throwing 98, 99 anymore. His first pitch as a Brewer was 100 miles an hour. They'd rather him sit in the 93 to 95 territory.
Now, it doesn't really much matter if you're throwing 98 if you're throwing it to the backstop.
That's a good point.
I mean, still 96 is good enough. You can throw it for strikes.
McClung has been a starter, a long reliever. He's been a closer. He pitched some big innings last year for the Brewers down the stretch. Pretty close pitch.
Yeah.
You don't see Yadier Molina walk much.
And I'm not convinced that he thought he walked that time. He stood there a while waiting for the strike call.
Maybe Paul Nart said, wow, if Yadier didn't even swing it, it must have been a ball. There's a guy who puts the ball in play. He doesn't strike out much and he doesn't walk much. Base runner with 1 out. And Rasmus takes a strike.
And he doesn't run much because they're not even holding him on.
And he takes off, and Kendall cannot find the handle. Boy, a stolen base for Yadier Molina.
Well, they're not holding him on because he hardly ever runs. McClung with a big high leg kick. Had a good pitch to run on, or I should say to throw on. Jason just couldn't hold on to it.
And Molina steals his 3rd base of the year, believe it or not. So it takes away the double play opportunity for the Crew. 0-2 the count, and Rasmus takes a call at strike 3. Out number 2 as McClung picks up his first strikeout. So 2 gone, and here is Khalil Green. It has been a struggle this year for Green. His batting average down to .204. Committed his 7th error of the year tonight. Just talking to some of the Cardinals personnel, they were telling us that Khalil Green was their best hitter this spring. He was traded from the Padres to St. Louis this offseason. And it looked like they had solidified that shortstop position. Foul territory, slicing into the seats. And it's 2-1. Khalil Green lost some playing time earlier this year to Tyler Green, a young shortstop prospect who is now back in AAA to get some consistent at-bats and some innings. And the thought is that Tyler Green will be returning to St. Louis soon, especially if Khalil doesn't turn it around. Tyler Green looks like a good young prospect.
Yeah, well, Tyler Green and Brendan Ryan were getting a lot of the starts at shortstop.
Wasn't too long ago, Khalil Green was one of the most productive offensive shortstops in the National League. Back in 07 with San Diego, he had 27 home runs and drove in 97. Playing half of his games at Petco Park. And McClung walks him. So 2 walks and a hit batter in this inning by McClung. Back in the second, Nick Stavinoa put the Cardinals on the board with a home run. His first career Major League homer, managed to get the ball back. And the Cardinals haven't looked back since.
I haven't seen too much of Billy Castro lately. I mean, there haven't been too many chats at the mound. A couple in Minneapolis, but other than that, I mean, this pitching staff has been very good, and really they haven't had to go out and talk in between innings.
2 on with 2 out. McClung trying to get through the 5th. Top of the order is coming up for the Brewers. The top of the order that is without Ryan Braun. Left this game with a bruise on his wrist. Suppan went 3 2/3 tonight. And an early exit. Hall's got a nice big hop, and the out at second. Side retired. A couple of walks and a hit batter, but the Cardinals do not score. And here come the Brewers. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. 3 home runs for the Cardinals tonight. They now have hit 50 as a team for the year. And a 5-1 lead as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. Our text to vote, courtesy of U.S. Cellular. Where is Counsell more valuable? And if you want to get interactive with us tonight, send your text along. We'll keep the poll running throughout the game. Number to text is 234-234. It's W if you think he's more valuable as a starter. X if you'd rather have him off the bench. I know what Ken Maka's vote would be.
I know what Craig would rather have. He's going to say that he'd rather be on the bench because if he's not in the starting lineup, everybody's healthy and productive. He said that for the last few years.
6th consecutive start for Counsell. And he waves at a good breaking ball from Wainwright. Well, Wainwright is dialing up the strikeouts now. That's number 6.
And tonight's hammer of the game winner is Terry's Hideout in Cashton, Wisconsin. If they call the Brewers by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, 902-4572, they get 40 tickets to a Brewers home game this year. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Here's Casey McGee with one away and a line shot that is caught by Thurston. McGee robbed of an extra base hit. And 2 outs in the inning.
Well, the hot corner.
In mid-bubble.
You knew somebody was going to say that on that play, even with the bag.
That was almost by him. He had a good bubble going too, and he had to cut it off.
You know who did that all the time when he was playing defense? Dale Swain. When he was at short, third base, he'd catch the ball, actually blow the bubble while he was getting ready to throw, and throw to first base. Of course, that bubble had already existed when that ball was hit. Dale would do it in the middle of the play.
I see.
It's his way of relaxing, kind of collecting everything.
Loosen the jaw. You know that's what Ryan Braun does when he swings the bat. He has the bubble thing going. His signature. You breathe out, relax the jaw, and that's when you've got your most power, I guess. You can only blow bubbles like that with the best gum in the big league.
Yeah, double bubble. But bump. But not the sugar-free kind.
It's better for your teeth, you know.
I don't care.
Frank Catalanato, his first at bat, hitting for Braun. Catalanato came in defensively last inning. Braun out of this game with a bruise on his wrist after he was hit by a pitch in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, 2 things that are staples in this booth: double bubble.
Yep.
And Renee's, rally almonds. They worked again yesterday.
The rally almonds. Catalanato out to Pujols. And on a hop, he'll take it to the bag. It's another 3-up, 3-down inning. Wainwright is locked in. The Brewers down 5-1. Wisconsin Lottery and its family of instant scratch games. Odds are you'll like them. By Airtran. Go. There's nothing stopping you. And by Aflac. We've got you under our wing. And this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Milwaukee Brewers and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of the Brewers.
You missed the Clemens cookout today.
No, I was there. I was there in spirit. Somebody had to work, you know. Crew's out there crushing the brats. Nicely done, by the way.
Yeah, the little sliders, the mini dogs that they sell here at the ballpark.
It looked like the racing sausages were a little bit skittish about being around the edible sausages.
No, they didn't. They don't like the grill. They stand clear from the grill. They were all out there at a distance.
You can't blame them.
They don't like charcoal. It's like kryptonite to them.
That's good fun today with the Crew. A lot going on today here around Brewers baseball. The score day this afternoon. Had the Crew cookout. No television tomorrow. Off day Thursday. We're back on Fox Sports Wisconsin on Friday. Adam Wainwright delivered a home run his last time up. First home run of the year, his 4th career home run. And that made it 4-0. Excuse me, 4-1 at the time. The Cardinals added a run in that inning. Schumacher with an RBI to make it 5-1. That's where we sit here in the 6th. Wainwright on the mound has given up just 1 run and has 6 strikeouts. He has retired the last 9 in a row. McClung strikes him out. His 2nd strikeout. Out number 1 here in the 6th inning. Thurston's had a good night. Couple of hits, 2 runs scored. Singled in the 3rd inning and scored a run, and then he doubled with 2 outs after the Wainwright home run back in the 4th. Thurston's been getting a lot of playing time this year in the absence of Troy Gloss, the other big slugger out of this Cardinal lineup. Gloss might not return until July. Had shoulder surgery. They thought they might get him back around the All-Star break, but it appears that could be the end of July or maybe early August for Troy Gloss's return.
Yeah, that's not a guy you really talk a whole lot about when you talk about the guys banged up for the Cardinals. Everybody talking about, you know, Ludwig and his return later this week, and Keel, who's back but not really healthy. But Troy Gloss, that's a big hole left in that lineup. A lot of power from the 3rd base position. Very good defensively.
Thurston hits that one well into deep right center. This will stay in the ballpark. And it's out number 2.
What inning were we in this time yesterday?
I think we were in our cars on the way home, actually.
It was a 10-inning game, about what, 2:15?
2:26.
Something like that.
Was the official time of game. Ended after a Bill Hall single that scored an unearned run, scoring Casey McGee in a 1-0 win. Cardinals have swung the bats well tonight. They have 5 runs on 7 hits. Brewers had a couple of chances, though. Milwaukee stranded the bases loaded in the 2nd inning. Had 2 on with nobody out in that frame. Couldn't score. And then had bases loaded, nobody out, and Fielder at the plate. Fielder did drive in the run on a ground out, but that was it. Wainwright able to get out of that 3rd inning, retiring Cameron and Hart. Since Wainwright hit Ryan Braun in the 3rd inning to load the bases, he has retired 9 straight with 4 strikeouts. Schumacher lines one into the gap. Cameron hustling to cut it off. Schumacher on his way to second. And he is in there with a double. Second hit for Skip Schumacher tonight.
Well, the Brewers did such a good job with the top of this Cardinal order yesterday. Of course, top and bottom, but a little bit different situation here tonight. Between Schumacher and Duncan, they've been on 4 times. And that's somewhat dangerous when you have Albert right behind him. Well, an opportunity to pitch around Albert, that's what you look for.
Well, key batter here for McClung. Duncan with 2 outs with Pujols on deck. Big cut. Ball with a strike. The speedy Schumacher in scoring position.
That's good curveball by Seth. Good velocity, goes straight down, and when he can throw it for strikes, that fastball becomes much more effective.
That one's hit well. Deep right field. Hart going back, and she's gone. Oh, another home run by the Cardinals, their 4th of the game. And it's 7-1 St. Louis. Two-run home run for Chris Duncan, his 4th of the year, and it comes with 2 strikes and 2 outs.
Well, look at the location. Right after that very good curveball, they try to go up the ladder on Duncan. That one registered only 92 miles an hour.
So Duncan with 2 hits. He's been on base 3 times. And the Cardinals belt their 4th home run of the year. Excuse me, of this game. Their 51st home run of the year. Now just 2 behind the Brewers.
Kind of interesting that fastball by McClung only 91 miles an hour. He threw a fastball earlier in that at bat at 95.
Pujols retired, but the Cardinals tack 2 on. Chris Duncan with a 2-out homer. 7-1 St. Louis.
have. They squandered at least 2 opportunities. But then again, you look on the other hand where our pitcher, Suppan and both McClung, got a couple quick outs, but then couldn't close the door, and the St. Louis Cardinals rallied.
All right, we're getting ready for Brewers Live postgame coming up in just a bit here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Instructional tonight, checking your swing. And there's a lot of ways of getting away with it and not getting away with it. And Bill and Davey will break it down. Prince is up to start the 6th. Brian?
All right, Craig, Davey, thanks a lot. Looking forward to Brewers Live following the game. Well, we'll see if the Brewers can get something started here. Wainwright has retired 9 in a row. Davey mentioned the Cardinals' 2-out success offensively. 5 of the 7 runs for the Cardinals have come with 2 outs here tonight.
You know, I think we called an audible, though, on the instructional tonight.
With the check swing?
I'm not exactly sure how long we could talk about a check swing. But we're going to do, running out of the baseline since the Albert Pujols decision out there. Why not? I mean, get Davey running around a little bit.
Yeah.
Not too hot down there.
Maybe it's a multi-layered Brewers Live. That would be.
And what we'll do is, you know what we'll do?
Prince Fielder's Powerball home run total is at 10. And Fielder trying to add to those totals.
I'll tell you what we'll do. You know what we'll do? Well, check swing, I'll hit it. Right? Roll it down the line and then, run outside that running path down there at first base. That'll kind of bring it all to light. Get the check swing out.
That means you have to run.
I'll run.
All right.
I won't get down there quickly, but I'll run.
Nice. Fielder draws the walk. And the Brewers a leadoff base runner. Technically, a check swing is a ball. Right. When you don't swing.
Right. You know who we need to help us with the check swing instruction would be Bruce Fremming down at first base.
Yeah.
Give us an idea what he's looking for.
Legendary umpire who's actually in the ballpark tonight.
Yep.
Well, he could be enticed with these rally almonds that you have.
Renee broke him out early tonight. We need him.
Mike Cameron, 1 for 2. The Brewers trying to scratch any kind of offense together. 3 hits in this game. Cameron has 1 of them. Fielder and Cameron had back-to-back hits in the second. The only other hit was Craig Counsell's single in the 3rd inning. Just 3 singles against Wainwright, who's putting together his 3rd consecutive outstanding start. Went 8 innings against the Brewers, just 1 run. Next time out against the Cubs, went 8 2/3. He strikes out Cameron for his 7th punch out.
Now the Brewers are in the middle of one of those stretches where it just can't seem to put things together. That slider off the outside corner with 2 strikes, and Cameron waves at it. But every team goes through a period of time when you're just not scoring a lot of runs. But the good thing was yesterday, although they only scored 1, able to get a win. So you have to be able to win in a lot of different ways. Play good defense, you pitch well, you might not score some runs, but over the course of the season, this team's going to score a bunch of runs. You just can't, put up 5, 6, 7 runs a game all season long. You're just not going to do it.
Hard lashes one back up the middle. A base hit. So Corey Hart gets into the act, and the Brewers have 2 on with 1 out.
That fastball outer half, and Corey able to bang it right back through the middle. That's what you like to see from Corey. Not trying to pull it, taking it up the middle into right center. Hey fans, Friday is Time Warner Cable Customer Appreciation Night. Find a buy 1 get 1 free Terrace ticket voucher for that game with your most recent Time Warner Cable statement. That's good while supplies last. Call 414-902-4000 for details. On Time Warner Customer Appreciation Night.
We always appreciate Time Warner, and we certainly always appreciate the customers.
And we appreciate being appreciated.
Billy Hall with 2 on and 1 out. Well, the Brewers could use a bolt here. Hall has not homered since the last homestand. He hit his 100th career home run here at Miller Park against the Florida Marlins. That was the last game prior to that 9-game road trip. That one's hit well. It bounces off the chest of Thurston, who recovers and starts a nifty double play. Excellent play by Thurston as the Cardinals go around the horn, and they still lead 7-1. And by Toyota, proud sponsor of the Milwaukee Brewers and the Tundra Territory at Miller Park. 37,000 here at Miller Park tonight. 37,404 the official attendance. Great crowd on a Tuesday night, and we're glad you're with us. Unfortunately, the Brewers on the wrong side of the ledger so far. 7-1, St. Louis leads it. Jorge Julio becomes the third pitcher used by Ken Maka tonight.
Well, showing some consistency out there in the mound. He last pitched against the Twins on Saturday, an inning and 2/3 scoreless baseball. Hasn't allowed a run in his last 3 outings.
Yadier Molina leads off. He'll be followed by Rasmus and then Khalil Green. Seth McClung goes 2 1/3 tonight, gives up 2 hits, 2 runs, the 2-run homer by Duncan. Walks 3 and strikes out a pair. Julio's another guy that made some changes in his pitching mechanics after a difficult start to the season. Bill Castro convinced him to work from the stretch even with nobody on base. And really, since he's made that change, he's pitched effectively for the Brewers.
Well, he's been throwing a lot more strikes. He's throwing strikes, getting ahead, using that very good changeup. It always has been command for Jorge Julio. He's got the arm to be very effective. When he throws strikes, he's tough to hit.
Julio's been a closer in the big leagues. He was a closer in Baltimore a few years back. But he has bounced around, and Bill Castro was pretty honest with him. He said, "Why do you think you've been with so many teams with your arm and your talent?" Julio said, "Inconsistency," and he said, "That's exactly right."
And it's all about concentration and focus and putting the same effort into every pitch, that, you know, the same importance to every pitch. Same thing with an at bat. At bats when you're down 7-1, very as important to you in your season and your ball club as at bats in a 1-1 game. Never give away at bats, never give away outings out there on the mound, no matter what the score.
The Brewers, the 8th organization for Jorge Julio. Molina pops it up. Casey McGee gives way to Mike Cameron. Cameron says, I got you taken care of. Don't worry about it. One away in the 7th. Craig Counsell was quick to point out how well Cameron has played center field this year. And getting a chance to watch him every day, cover so much ground. The Brewers really wanted to firm up the middle of their defense. J.J. Hardy, all-star caliber shortstop, certainly a Gold Glove caliber shortstop as well. Kendall's excellent behind the plate. We saw a lot of great strides with Ricky Weeks at second base. And then you have Mike Cameron, who's won 3 Gold Gloves in center field. As you see, Colby Rasmus at the plate, presented by Wendy's. That's where most of the balls go. The batted balls on percentage right up the middle. So the second baseman, the shortstop, the center fielder, demanding positions.
Yep, strong up the middle. That's why you don't have to hit as much when you play up the middle as you do in the corners. Your third baseman, your first baseman, those are power spots, just like left field and right field. Guys up the middle ordinarily, except for maybe the catcher, are more contact hitters, defensive specialists, and guys that can run in general.
Jeff Kent, one of the great offensive second basemen, hit so well that in his early days with the Indians and the New York Mets, they felt he had enough power and would drive in enough runs as Julio strikes out Rasmus. They wanted to move him to a corner infield position. They thought he could play third, and he certainly could have, but he demanded that he stay at second base. And he stayed at second and became one of the all-time greatest offensive second basemen in baseball, and certainly headed for the Hall of Fame, in my opinion.
So unlike Robin Yount, Jeff Kent refused to switch positions to help his club. I mean, if Robin Yount can do it, I guess anybody should do it, right? Billy Hall did it a number of times. Ryan Braun. Alfonso Soriano did it, but begrudgingly.
Yeah, he wanted to stay at second base. And you can understand. Guys put up big numbers like that, Soriano and Jeff Kent type numbers as a second baseman. Now all of a sudden you're in a whole different class. And we're talking big contracts. Put you in a different level. Soriano did not want to move from second base to the outfield. And maybe only the strong hand of Frank Robinson in Washington was what ultimately got him out there. It was either going to play left field or not play at all.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Soriano responded with his best offensive year, even to date, his first year in left field with the Nationals. Michael Young made that move this year with the Rangers from shortstop to third base.
Yeah, what's best for the team. I mean, that's what most guys, try to think and do. Those are the guys you want around.
Green draws the walk with 2 outs. And here comes Stavinoa. Stavinoa got it all started back in the second inning. 2-out home run for the Cardinals. And he did it on a 3-2 pitch. Cardinals were able to secure that baseball without much negotiating. I think they just pitched another baseball up there.
The way it should be.
Do you have your first home run baseball?
I do.
Where was that? Where'd you hit the baseball?
Where is it?
Where'd you hit the home run?
Okay. Hit it to right field at County Stadium.
No problem getting that one back.
No. It's a different time and a different day back then. I think a lot of fans in Milwaukee were very willing to give up a Bill Schroeder home run ball.
Did you give anything in return, or
didn't have to? They just fired it back on the field.
Here, take it.
Yeah,
beat it.
I don't want it. I took it. I had that in the first hit ball.
Your triple?
Yeah.
Not only did you hit the ball, but the ball hit you.
Yeah. It hurt too. When it hit me in the back.
And thus the first and only career triple for Bill Schroeder.
No triple has ever got more play on television.
That's a good thing you became a broadcaster.
Yeah. That triple will never die.
Such a great story. His first major league hit was a triple. Could have stopped at second, but he just decided to keep on going.
I couldn't stop. I was too excited.
You had the mullet waving.
It was sticking straight out. I was going so fast.
Rooster tail. All gelled up and pretty.
And a good sinker by Jorge Julio. Got some good movement on. As long as he just stays ahead in the count.
Adam Wainwright homered back in the fourth. His fourth career home run, but his last two home runs against Milwaukee. He homered last April against Carlos Villanueva. April of '08, I should say. And then he homers tonight against Suppan. Batting for the fourth time here in the seventh inning. 2 on, 2 out. And Wainwright takes a big cut. 3-2 to count. Wainwright, a career .270 hitter. Now with 4 homers and 15 RBIs. Rock mentioned he's been used as a pinch hitter on occasion. Runners take off. Wainwright strikes out. And the inning is over. 7-1 St. Louis. Brewers coming up in the bottom of the seventh at stretch time at Miller Park. We head to the bottom of the 7th inning, and it's been about the long ball tonight for the Cardinals. They have 4 home runs. Their second 4-homer game of the year. They last did it against the Washington Nationals earlier this month. Nick Stavinoa, Adam Wainwright, Colby Rasmus, and Chris Duncan, all with home runs tonight. The Cardinals have now hit 51 team home runs. That home run by Duncan was a big one. Chance to get out of the inning, keep it a 5-1 game. Instead, Duncan hits the 2-run shot, makes it 7-1, and that's where we sit as we head to the bottom of the 7th. And Wainwright still on the mound. Jason Kendall leads off. It'll be Kendall and then a pinch hitter, and then back to the top of the order. 7 strikeouts in 6 innings for Adam Wainwright.
I'm still amazed at that swing that Chris Duncan put on that fastball by McClung. That ball was up around his shoulders. Well, they say that lefties like the ball down and in. Not Chris Duncan.
And Kendall goes down on strikes. Number 8 for Wainwright. Some changes defensively. Thurston moves from third to second base. Brian Barton is in the game at third. And Schumacher moves out to right field. So defensive changes for the Cardinals. Wainwright keeps rolling right along here. And here's Jody Garrett to pinch hit for the Brewers. What we've seen of Garrett so far after the trade between the Brewers and the Padres is that he is aggressive early in the count. I think he's batted 5 times and he swung at the first pitch on 4 of those occasions.
Well, young guys coming off the bench are going to do that. You make a start, you want to make an impression, you don't want to pass up a pitch you think you can hit.
Wainwright picks up another strikeout. He's only getting stronger as this game goes on. 9 punch outs. And to the top of the order now in Counsell. Our U.S. Cellular poll question tonight. Getting a lot of text messages on Craig Counsell. And the question is Counsell more valuable as a starter? That was the W on your cell phone. And X off the bench. 58% say off the bench. Right in line with the manager's thinking. So the final standings, Rock, no surprise.
Well, I think in a perfect world the Brewers are better off with Craig Counsell coming off the bench, late inning defense, or a pinch hitter. That means Ricky Weeks and J.J. Hardy are fine. They're doing well. You don't mind Craig in a platoon type situation, maybe over at third base like he was for a short period of time last year, and kind of working out that way this year.
Well, Counsell has his second hit. 2-out single for Craig Counsell, who's 2 for 4 tonight.
He didn't like the results of that poll. I play every day. You may see him in that starting lineup again tomorrow. They might decide to give J.J. Hardy another day off, followed by the team day off, just to make sure that he's going to be okay to go over the weekend. But we'll see. I think that might have something to do with whether Ryan Braun's going to be able to play tomorrow.
Braun left this game after being hit by a Wainwright pitch. Back in the 3rd inning, a bruise on his wrist. Has not been a good night at the office for the Crew so far in front of a big crowd. McGee into right field. Back is Schumacher. He's got it, and the inning is over. And Wainwright just churning away. 7 strong tonight, just 1 run. 7-1 Cardinals. St. Louis 7-1 over the Brew Crew as we head to the 8th inning. And a new pitcher for Milwaukee. Julio is out, and it's Mitch Stetter on to pitch the 8th.
Now, Stetter's been throwing the baseball extremely well until his last outing. Gave up a hit batter and a grand slam to Justin Morneau on Sunday in Minneapolis. Other than that, Stet has been tremendous. 3 lefties coming up for the Cardinals, and that's why you see Stetter on the mound.
Brewers started the day a game up on the Cardinals in the National League Central. Milwaukee, for the most part, has dominated the division at this point. 18-8 for the Brewers this year. That includes 4 wins against the Cardinals. This is the second series of 6 this year with St. Louis. Interesting that there are 6 series, 3 at home, 3 on the road against the Cardinals. St. Louis, you can just see it. They have incredible pitching. They're starting pitching, especially if Carpenter's back and healthy. From what we saw yesterday in his last 2 starts, they are going to be a force when they start to get their offense back together. When Ludwig returns, Dane Keel returns, they might get Troy Gloss back and productive at the end of the year.
Tough division at the top. It really is. Cincinnati playing very well. The Cubs aren't going to be playing like they have been all season long. They're going to be back into it. And the Brewers and the Cardinals. So yeah, it's going to be a tough division.
Thurston draws the walk.
Hey fans, elect your favorite Brewers to the 2009 All-Star team. All-Star game in St. Louis this year. Vote early, vote often, and vote Brewers now through July 2nd at Brewers.com.
And the first results came out from All-Star balloting. J.J. Hardy and Ryan Braun atop the positional numbers. Braun leading National League outfielders, and J.J. Hardy leading National League shortstops. Be great to send some Brewers to the All-Star game. 3 Brewers went last year. Ben Sheets, Ryan Braun, and Corey Hart. 4 the previous year. Dennis Reyes getting loose. Prince Fielder scheduled to hit second in the 8th. We're wondering how long Tony La Russa would go with Adam Wainwright. He has logged some innings in his last 3 starts.
Maybe it. That might be why you see activity down in that Cardinal bullpen, but you never know.
Little flare, that's going to fall, a base hit. So Mitch Stetter has run into some trouble his last 2 times out. The first 2 have reached for the Cardinals.
Pretty good at bat by Schumacher. He stayed right in there. That's at bats in 3 consecutive, or hits in 3 consecutive at bats. Didn't overswing, he just kind of served it out there into center field. Good slider by Stetter. Might have got too much of the plate, but it was down. Sometimes you just have to tip the cap. Good at bat.
Todd Coffey begins to get loose. Speaking of the Central Division, the Cubs out in front of the Pirates 6-1 tonight. They're trying to snap a long losing streak that has now reached 8 games. Fukudome has homered for the Cubs at Wrigley. Reds are in action tonight as well. Cincinnati has the lead. 6-4 in the 8th inning over the Astros. Lance Nix hit his 4th home run. He's having a good year. He's earning some playing time there for Dusty Baker.
Yeah, they like him over there. Came up with some big hits against the Brewers.
Votto has also homered for the Reds. He now has 8 after discovering an inner ear infection. He couldn't figure out why he was so dizzy. Came up with the flu when the Brewers were in Cincinnati. He missed a couple of games, and then he couldn't get back on the field. He was standing at first base one day, almost fell down, and after a series of tests, they found out had an inner ear infection.
Isn't that the first thing they look for when you go into the doctor's office? They put that thing in your ear.
Duncan sends one deep to center field. Cameron's going to run it down. Thurston tags at second. And it'll be first and third for the Cardinals with one out.
You know, that medical, instrument that, it's got the little funnel on it with the light.
Yeah. Stick it down in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would think.
No, that and the fact that maybe he should have said, yeah, my ear hurts.
There's a difference between injury and pain. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's tough enough to hit in this league without being dizzy.
Yeah.
Maka's going to pull Stetter after the three lefties. And to the bullpen he goes for Todd Coffey. Coffey came sprinting into the ballgame. His signature.
What did he register on the clock tonight?
You know, he was. It was a good time tonight. It was one of his best ever.
Well, it's been a while for him. He hasn't pitched since Thursday against Houston, so he hadn't had to make that run in a while. You know, after the game yesterday, Todd Coffey not used, and he and Jorge Julio, after the game, after everybody had celebrated in the Brewer clubhouse, he and Julio were playing long toss out there in right field. Kind of taking a little bit of my attention away from the instructional yesterday, I got to tell you.
Coffey likes to take a little bit of the edge off his right arm, and when he is too strong, he feels like he has a hard time commanding his fastball, and so that's why he throws a lot. He hasn't been getting the kind of work that he was hoping for.
Yeah.
But it's not because he hasn't earned it. It's just the kind of games the Brewers have been in lately. Coffey said at the outset of the year he wanted to appear in 90 games. That's a lot of ball games.
Yes, it is.
Pujols with one out and runners at the corners. Albert is 0 for 3 tonight. Check that, 0 for 2. Had a sac fly in the third inning, and then he walked in the fifth. The RBI is 39th. Hammers out. Oh, bad hot base hit. Man, oh man. It's all coming up roses for the Cardinals tonight. That was a double play waiting to happen. Instead, a base hit and an RBI.
Well, you don't see that too much. Not here at Miller Park. One of the best playing surfaces in the game. Good slider by Coffey. Might have hit a cleat mark and came right up on Counsell, who was looking to turn a double play.
So Pujols with his first hit. He drives in his second run, gives him 40 for the year. Prince Fielder giving him a little business. How do you do that? He's so good he can hit the spike marks now. Eight to 1 Cardinals. And this one starting to feel a lot like those 3 games in Minneapolis.
Yeah. Well, just got to weather the storm. I mean, every team goes through it. Can't talk about it enough. The fact that you can't play as well as the Brewers had played for what, about a month after that rough start. Playing as good a baseball as you can possibly play. That stuff doesn't last the whole year. You're going to go through stretches where you're not playing well.
Well, despite the 3 losses against the Twins, the Brewers still have the best record in the National League since April 22nd. So you're talking about a significant stretch of games, over a month on the schedule. And the Brewers still with the top record during that stretch. It was a 4-9 start for Milwaukee.
Yeah, plus the guys are a bit banged up. That's going to happen too throughout the year.
Molina grounds one to third. Hall's got all day to turn this one, and the side retired. So Coffey does a nice job. Unfortunate bad hop leads to another run. Game of the series tomorrow. That's a 12:05 start. You can catch that one on Brewers Radio. Bob Uecker and Corey Provis. Back on television Friday after a scheduled off day Thursday. Fox Sports Wisconsin has all 3 games of the Red Series, and we'll start it at 6:30 for Brewers Live on Friday night. Tomorrow's starting pitchers: Manny Parra for the Brew Crew against Todd Wellemeyer for St. Louis.
Well, Manny Parra can't wait to get back out there on the mound. Got roughed up big time against the Twins. That was on Friday. Gave up a career high 9 earnings. It's been a long waiting for Manny to get back out there on that mound again.
Cardinals have a new pitcher. Dennis Reyes is on for Wainwright. Wainwright is turning in some beauties lately. And you mentioned it. He changed his release point right before the Brewer game, and he has had starts of 8 innings, 8 2/3, and tonight 7 innings, and certainly could have gone deeper into this one if not for the 8-1 Cardinal lead.
Well, he's got good movement. Most guys want to stay on top of with their delivery. They get some good downward action. They get good sink. The curveball a bit better, but not for Wainwright. He can drop down just a little bit. Not much, but he's had better command, keeping the baseball down, and boy, that curveball's been pretty good.
Catalanato is second at bat. He came in for the injured Ryan Braun. And Catalanato is 0 for 2. Around the big leagues tonight, the Phillies got 11 strikeouts from Joe Blanton and a 5-3 win over the Marlins. Cincinnati still leading Houston. That game's in the bottom of the 8th now, and it's 6-4. So the Reds continue to play well. The Mets outrunning the Washington Nationals tonight. Livan Hernandez went the distance. He's now 4-1 for New York. Mets won 6-1 over Washington. Don't forget our instructional tonight, Brewers Live, sponsored by Lincoln Mercury, running within the baseline. It's going to be fun to see who's going to be doing the running there. Is somebody going to pull the Pete Rose, where you grab somebody in a rundown and try to get the interference call? I like that one.
Maybe. I mean, Davey's got all kinds of tricks out there.
Fielder bounces one toward the middle. And a good play by Thurston. Out number 2.
You don't think I'd do that, do you?
That'd be something you would do, actually. That's like a Bill Schroeder thing. Davey would just outrun the ball.
Are you saying I cheat?
No, that's not cheating.
I think you're saying that I cheat.
It's being crafty.
You're making reference to my nature, the way I am. I cheat.
That's just being a pro, Rob.
Trying to get any advantage, right?
Just being a pro.
Yeah.
2 outs for Cameron.
What we're going to do is we're going to start at home plate. And this is where the check swing thing. I mean, I came up with a check swing. We can do both,
nice.
But you hit it. A little dribbler down the first baseline. Well, you got that running area 45 feet down. You got to stay in that box all the way to first base.
The running lane.
The running lane. And then we're going to move from first to second. We're going to talk about the parameters by which you can avoid a tag and when you're going to be called out of the baseline. That happened tonight. That's what we try to do on the instructionals. Instruct and make it pertinent to what's going on that particular night.
I think it's a fine idea.
I think Ken Mock is looking forward to it.
Ken Mock is looking forward to anything post-game related. Been a rough one for the Brewers tonight. Mock has seen this 4 times in the last 5 days, and as good as yesterday's game was, I mean, as well played, as well pitched, this one has been a stinker. But we have seen some nice defense in this game, and our Home Depot doing more on defense. I don't know what was better, Thurston's catch on McGee's hot shot or the fact that he was blowing a bubble while making the catch. Multitasking.
Yeah.
Cameron shoots one through for a base hit. So Mike Cameron with 2 hits. Not giving away at bats. The Brewers with a base runner with 2 outs.
Well, it looked like a little changeup that Cameron able to stay back and fight off into left field.
So Reyes is out. La Russa makes a pitching change here in the 8th. We'll take a timeout and be right back. numbers. Additional information at brewers.com/bootcamp. You'll get to take a little batting practice, some morning fielding and hitting. And, it's kind of like a one-day version of fantasy camp.
That's a good warm-up for Brewers fantasy camp, right? You can make it through one day, you might be able to make it through a week.
That's always the tough day at fantasy camp, day 2.
Yeah.
Then things get a little better. Chris Perez on to work with 2 outs here in the 8th inning. I'd like to see Corey Hart get it going again. He had a nice at-bat his last time up. A single off Adam Wainwright. Wainwright was terrific tonight. 7 innings, 9 strikeouts, and just the 1 run.
Yeah, Jeff Suppan on the hook for a loss. It would be his first against the Cardinals in his career. Suppan came in 5-0 with a 1.62 ERA against the Cardinals.
Now the Brewers tonight with 6 hits in the game. J.J. Hardy missed his 4th consecutive. Back spasms still have him down. Ryan Braun out after he was hit by a pitch in the 3rd inning. Maka has a banged up ball club right now. Maybe tomorrow for J.J. Hardy. Maka might choose to give him off tomorrow and take advantage of the scheduled off day Thursday. Hart pops up. Inning is over, and we head to the 9th at Miller Park. All St. Louis tonight. It's 8-1. Four home runs for the Cardinals, and they're out in front 8-1 on Menard's game reset. Adam Wainwright goes 7 tonight and in line for the win. Chris Duncan has a couple of hits, including a 2-run home run in the 6th inning. And Albert Pujols 1 for 3 tonight, and he has driven in a pair and a sacrifice fly at an RBI single. Mark DeFelice on to work the 9th inning for the Brewers.
Well, Diefer in his 21st game, a 3-0 record, a 131 earned run average. He's given up a couple of home runs, and look at that opponent batting average, 187. Outstanding work all year.
Continues to be one of the great success stories in baseball, Mark DeFelice, as Rasmus jumps on the first pitch, and that one's down the line for extras. Hart gives chase. Rasmus in there with a double. what we have seen from Colby Rasmus. He loves to attack early. His home run back in the 4th came on the first pitch. And now a double down the right field line.
Well, what you learn from that is you don't, if you're going to throw a strike first pitch, make sure it's not a fastball. There's a fastball. Rasmus able to get good extension, rip it right down the right field line. Handles the ball down very well. He really does. Likes to get those arms extended. Got a nice swing. Keeps the bat in the hitting zone a long time.
Well, Rasmus leads all rookies in home runs and RBIs in the National League. There is not that breakout rookie yet in the National League at this point, although Rasmus has 5 homers now and 18 runs batted in. Cardinals should have plenty of shots at the Rookie of the Year. They certainly have enough rookies getting playing time. Pretty much on a nightly basis, the Cardinals are starting 3 rookies a night.
No, it's just a matter of how long those rookies are going to be starting. That guy's starting to get healthy. Cardinals have 3 as Khalil Green goes down on strikes. Cardinals have 3 guys in the top 10 in most of the offensive categories in the National League rookies. Barden, Rasmus, and Thurston.
Cardinals have started 11 rookies this year at one time or another, most in the majors. 1 gone here in the 9th, and here is another rookie, Stavanoa. Check that, Brian Barden, who came in for Stavanoa. Barden committed the error yesterday that led to the Brewers' run in the 10th inning. Normally a sure-handed third baseman. That 1-0 Brewer win. The cut fastball from DeFelice, and it's his 2nd strikeout.
Yeah, it's amazing how effective he is against right-handed batters. Just not able to be as effective against lefties. Not to say that he cannot be, but throws a few more change-ups. He'll throw a change-up to a lefty. He won't do that to right-handed batters.
So Brendan Ryan here, batting in the pitcher spot with 2 outs. Ken Maka has managed his bullpen well during these blowout losses. At least the 3 in Minneapolis. He made sure guys got work, but he made sure he kept them on a pretty strict pitch limit.
Yeah, give him 1 inning, 1 and out. Kept the pitchers down so that he's able to use them the following day. You can use them 3 days in a row, maybe, if you use them only 1 inning.
That is a character trait a manager must have. He's got to think ahead, not only pitch by pitch or out by out, inning by inning, and in some occasions day by day. You've got to make sure your bullpen is sharp but not overused, which can be a challenge sometimes.
Man, that's certainly the toughest thing for a manager to go through as the season goes on. Making sure all of his pitchers in the bullpen are not only getting work but not getting overused, making sure they're for the most part available just about every day, and you don't want to leave a guy out there in the bullpen too long without getting work, and you don't want to be running out your best guys all the time either. You don't want to wear them out.
Ryan hanging tough. Well, Bill Castro and Stan Kiles, the bullpen coach, they count every pitch, not just pitches thrown in a game, but also pitches thrown off a mound in the bullpen as well. There's Stan talking to Carlos Villanueva.
And his clicker down there, right? Counting off the pitches.
2-2 to Ryan. Over to Hall. And that's the side. DeFelice a scoreless ninth from last call for the Brewers. 7 to tie, 8 to win. And the story tonight, the Cardinal bats and the pitching of Adam Wainwright, our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Wainwright, 7 innings, 5 hits, just 1 run, and only 1 walk to go along with 9 strikeouts tonight. 3rd consecutive outstanding start for Adam Wainwright. He also homered in this game. His 4th career home run and his 2nd career home run against the Brewers. And the Cardinals have an 8-1 lead as we head for the bottom of the 9th inning. And Blaine Boyer will handle the 9th for La Russa.
Yeah, one of the few Cardinal relievers that have really had a tough time. Only 15th appearance. Big earned run average, 6 walks and 9 strikeouts. He's given up a home run. I guess the hits that he's allowed are very timely because that 12 ERA, I mean, those other numbers don't really match up. 250 opponent batting average, not too bad.
Well, an opportunity and some work for Boyer tonight. Bill Hall set to lead off in the 9th. Hall's been working a great deal with Dale Swain, and it's not so much mechanical issues as he's trying to get him back to hittable pitches and what he recognizes as a hittable pitch. It was a good sign to see Hall drive one into the right center field gap yesterday. He has so much power, plenty of power to go out of the ballpark in left or right.
Just got to allow the ball to travel back into your hitting zone. You can see that not too many base hits to the opposite field for Billy. And that's a tough thing to do. Allow that ball to get to you and not jump at it when you're scuffling. Not seeing it, you're striking out. Believe me, I've been there. Every hitter has, just about every hitter has. And the toughest thing to do is just to sit back, relax, let the ball get to you. You really want to go attack it. You want to go out and get it. But that's the worst thing you can do.
It becomes a trust issue as Pujols runs that one down. And it's the first down of the 9th inning. Jason Kendall with one away. Don't forget, Brewers Live coming up after the game. Craig and Davey, and an instructional on the field with Rock and Davey. Put the wraps on this one, get you ready for tomorrow. Matinee baseball here at Miller Park. Hope you'll make plans to join us at the ballpark tomorrow. No television, so The only way you'll see it to come on out. Expecting another good crowd tomorrow afternoon. That's a 12:05 start, by the way. The division will tighten up tonight, barring a Brewers miracle here. Cincinnati beat the Astros. Oswalt started for Houston. And Micah Owings for Cincinnati. Neither factored the decision, but the Reds picked up the win. And if the Brewers don't come back, it'll be a first place tie with the Cardinals, and then the Reds just a game and a half back. Two outs. So last call for the Crew, and here is Matt Gamble. Make sure you join us on Thursday for Brewers Live. Got a sit down with Matt Gamble planned. Boy, his life has changed a great deal in the last 4 or 5 months. Had a baby. He's a father for the first time. And a big leaguer for the first time on a consistent basis.
Yeah, that's a lot for a young guy in a short period of time. But he can hit, kid or no kid.
Running within the baseline. Make sure you stay tuned. Going to learn something tonight. And we might get a chance to see Rock run a little bit. Nice cool night. Stretch out those hamstrings a little. He's been stretching between innings. He's gone through a pair of pants tonight.
I might consider jogging. A light jog. No, but a couple of days off. You know, we're not on tomorrow. There's a team day off on Thursday. I might, stretch it out a little bit.
Yeah, because you're going to get some recovery time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that option's available for you, partner. You don't want to get too tight, though, in preparation for your golf game tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Why don't you come down and join us? Are you ever going to come down and join us?
Well, there's a lot of work to do up here.
Yeah, a lot of folks ask me about that. You know, around town, why doesn't Brian come down?
I mean, I'm all for it, but
wealth of baseball information.
Somebody has to anchor the booth.
That's right.
And unfortunately, it's me.
I'd rather do what I do. Yep, you're the rock in that whole situation. You are, the anchor.
You guys are down there together, having fun.
We are having a good time. Yeah.
And not me. I'm up here working, man. Now this should do it. A forgettable night at the ballpark tonight as the Brewers go down to the Cardinals 8-1, back to a first place tie. Don't forget, Brewers Live coming up right after the turn. Stay with us, everyone.